So there are a lot of people that are making their top 10 MCU videos. Thought I'd make my top 10 video also. You want to see what my list is? Stick around. Okay, so this video and the one I'm going to premiere on Thursday, which is the worst top 10, in my opinion, worst MCU, top 10, in my opinion, that will be airing on Thursday. Wednesday is New Comic Book Day. We're going to keep it that way. So let's get into the list of what I consider to be the top 10 MCU movies. I see a lot of people making videos like this, and they all have their different criteria. So let me try to explain the way I look at movies. The first thing is, do I want to watch it again? Do I enjoy watching it a second time, a third time? Do I enjoy it just as much, or does it lose a lot of luster? And I'll give you an example about that. First time I saw Something About Mary in a movie theater, I was in tears. I was crying. I had a hard time. Me and my friend had a hard time walking to the parking lot. Meanwhile, by the way, my girlfriend who was with us said, I don't really consider it that funny. And we were both just like falling over each other. We couldn't stop laughing. The second time I saw it, it was nowhere near as funny because it's all shock humor. So in an MCU movie, I may like it or dislike it the first time I watch it. I may feel apathetic, but my opinion will either amplify, or it'll go up or down, or it may change the more times I see the movie. Spaceballs. First time I saw it, I was like, yeah, it's okay. Second time, I thought it was pretty good. Third time, I thought it was great. Now I think it's a masterpiece. Because the more times I watch that movie, the more I laugh at it. So, do I enjoy watching the movie a second time? If I have Disney Plus, if I'm scrolling through, and I've watched every one of these movies multiple times. If I look at it and say, yeah, I know I've seen that 8 times, but I feel like watching it again. And I still feel a sense of joy watching it, even if I know what's going to happen. These are things that mean a lot to me. Advancing a storyline is obviously important, but some movies advance a storyline and still are horrible. Other movies don't advance a storyline and are great. And let me see. I'm going to look at my list right now. No, that one doesn't really advance a storyline. That one kind of does. That one definitely doesn't. That one doesn't. And these are my top 10. So, because I took them as individual enjoyment. So, enough ranting, enough explanation. Let me get into it. Now, this first one on my list, I did discuss. I think I made a list like this one time before, and this was not in my top 10. And people kind of, like, how come this isn't on your list? And I'm putting it on the list now, not because I felt pressured from the last time, but because over time, I've watched it more and I appreciate it more, and it's made my top 10 list. It was close the last time. It's shifted. Number 10, Captain America, the First Avenger. And again, it's just that, especially everything that's gone on with Falcon and Winter Soldier and Isaiah, and the new Captain America, who now is a U.S. agent. I went back and rewatched First Avenger again, and I had an amplified appreciation for the movie, and it bumped it up a couple spots, making my top 10. Okay, I'm going to put this here so I can actually see it instead of looking down at the list. Number 9, Spider-Man Homecoming. I loved this film. I know there have been a lot of Spider-Man #1 movies, and Raimi and the Amazing Spider-Man, and God knows how many other different versions there have been. But I liked this one. I didn't know what to expect from Tom Holland. I loved his portrayal, the keeping it in the high school, back to the nerdy kid, and I think, honestly, I liked him better as a nerdy kid than Tobey Maguire. The switch of MJ was a little bit of a adjustment for me, because you have your views of who should be playing what, or how a character should look on screen based on what you've been reading in comics for 50 years. But I liked it, and I absolutely loved Michael Keaton as the Vulture. So many times the villain makes the movie, okay? Doc Ock, Alfred Molina, Willem Dafoe as the Goblin. So many times the villain can make the movie. I mean, hella. Come on. Some of these movies are just really great just because of the villain itself. So, yes, Spider-Man Homecoming comes in at number 9. Coming in at number 8, Ant-Man. Putting all the physics and science aside about, well, if you grew this big, you still wouldn't be able to hit any hard, and you wouldn't weigh any more, and you wouldn't be able to shrink a tank and put it in your pocket because it would still weigh 27 tons. And just put that aside. It's a comic book movie. It was fun. It was well cast. It was well laid out. It was fast paced. It kept you really riveted on the scenes and laughing at everything that was going on. I loved Paul Rudd in that. And yeah, that's one of the movies that was. Here's another thing. If you go to see a movie and you don't expect much from it, and it way blows your mind, it leaves an impression in your brain and on your heart that you can never, overcome. Which brings me to number 7, Guardians of the Galaxy. When they said they were making Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm like, really? I didn't like the comic book. Really? The characters are going to be a raccoon and a tree. Okay, well, time for Marvel to really have a good-sized flop anyway. Oh my God. Acting, the interaction between the characters, the casting of it, the soundtrack, perfect. It was beautiful. I love that movie. I can watch that movie over and over and over again. See, and that's the thing is, if I'm flipping channels and that movie's on, I'll stay on it, even though I've seen it 50 times, because it's just fun. And it's also a movie you can play in the background and hear little snippets as you're doing something with headphones and still be interactive with them. Feel like you're in the movie. It's a great one. Okay, getting into number 6, Captain America: Civil War. This was basically a miniature Avengers movie. Come on, it had that many characters, and if you were a real fan, you could see the merits of both sides. But I sided the most with Captain America's side because, as he said, no matter what you say, you're still putting us under the control of somebody else. And what if that somebody else is corrupt? And Cap had been around since World War II. He had seen corrupt politicians and governments. He fought against it. He knew it. So it's so great on so many levels. And the fight scene at the end was like watching a comic book come to life. It was just breathtaking to watch. I loved it. And that's a great movie. But we got to get into the top 5. Now, this one, a lot of people put this at the number 1 on their list. I think it's an amazing movie. It's not number 1, but it is top 5. Black Panther. This is a great film. Soundtrack again, acting again. Chadwick Boseman, we miss you. And you'll never, ever, ever be replaced. I don't care what the studios do, if they do or don't try to. There's no CGI. There's nothing that could ever take your place on the screen or in my heart. And the acting, even by Michael B. Jordan, and I can't remember who played his sister Shuri, but she was that perfect little sister, And I can't wait to see Black Panther Part 2. That's another thing, is if it makes you drool for the second movie, these are great movies. Coming in at number 4, Infinity War: Endgame. This was a great movie. There are very few films and I said this when I watched it, that can make me laugh, cry, scream, and become perfectly silent within one movie. And this movie did all. It pulled every emotion out of me, from the opening of seeing Hawkeye with his kids. And we hadn't seen an Infinity War for, 9 months or a year? And the directors did an amazing job in this, in reminding you of bringing you back to exactly how you felt at the end of Infinity War, where everybody, if you ever watch the audience reactions, people are like, oh no, and you walked out of the theater thinking, oh my God, that didn't just happen, not that person, and you felt like despair, and you become a little numb to it after 9 months to a year, and you go and you sit down in a movie theater, and it says, "Oh, by the way, you remember that ultimate feeling that killed your heart a year ago? Remember?" And I'm like, did they just start the movie with the obliteration of Hawkeye's family? What the hell? I haven't been that depressed since the beginning of Up. But the entire movie was great. It showed an evolution of the characters themselves. I mean, right down to Captain America swearing, "Yeah, let's go get this son of a bitch." It's just, yeah. It showed the intensity of the feelings of these characters and how Tony had said, "Look, I feel bad about half the universe. I finally have happiness here, and I don't want to lose it." But it was a great movie. And I'm getting a little teary-eyed right now just thinking about how everything went on it. By the way, if you're expecting no spoilers and this movie came out a few years ago, sorry. All right, coming in at number 3, Thor Ragnarok. I think I heard that like 80% of this movie was improv, and Taika Waititi he's just masterful. He is really masterful, whether he's on the screen or he's behind the camera. He is a lot like Kevin Feige and oh my god, I'm gonna pause this for a second. Sorry, I had a brain fart. Jon Favreau. Okay, so Waititi, Favreau, and Kevin Feige. They have one thing I believe in common, is they making movies from a fan standpoint. They are coming into this not just with the intention of trying to make a lot of money, which, let's be honest, it's great that they are. But I believe that they're making movies that they know in their heart they would love to sit in the movie theater and watch themselves. It's like listening to a certain group performing music that whether there was a crowd or not, they were just making music because they enjoyed doing it. And Favreau, he's not somebody that is, like, I'm not trying to belittle Steven Spielberg, but Steven Spielberg is not the same as Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau is not trying to make something that will be, considered one of the top films in history. He's trying to make something that audiences will love. And as a result, he's making films that are kind of be some of the top ones in history. Because they're fan favorites. Okay, these are the ones that, I feel like I could sit next to between Jon Favreau and Taika Waititi with a giant bucket of popcorn, just sitting back going, "Oh my God, this is great, this is great." And they would be just as flabbergasted as me. So they're one of the boys, you know what I mean? And Thor Ragnarok, it just exemplifies exactly what this is. They took everything that was wrong with the first 2 Thor movies and just threw it out the window and said, let's just make a comic book. Let's just have some fun with this. Hey, the actors, they're not stupid. Let them get into their own characters and have some fun. Let's do Get Help. I hate Get Help. You love Get Help. I don't like Get Help. Get Help. Great. Okay, moving on. We're at the top 2. Number 2, Doctor Strange. One of the things that is just amazing to me is when things like Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man, even to an extent Iron Man, comics that I didn't read because I had no real interest in. And I know people are going to kill me like, how did you not like Doctor Strange? I didn't like Doctor Strange as a comic book. I love the movie. And if you can completely change my opinion that I have formulated in 40 years of reading comic books, if you could change my opinion of a character in a 3-hour movie, you did something good. Because I am so looking forward to No Way Home and Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness and anything else anything else that is going to be Doctor Strange related. I love the What If episodes because this movie pulled in Cumberbatch as the actor, and another perfect casting in the Ancient One, perfect casting. And man, I really have nothing negative to say about Doctor Strange. And the only reason it didn't make it to the number 1 spot is because number 1 is Avengers Infinity War, which I rank that as one of my top 2 favorite movies, and they're both for the same reason. They're real. And I was like, oh good, Marvel superheroes aren't real. No. The 2 favorite movies of mine of all time are Empire Strikes Back and Infinity War. Because in both of them, you left the theater realizing good doesn't always win. And that's reality. Good does not always win. The Comics Code Authority has always made it that bad always has to lose, and they always have to pay the price. So that was always something that was lacking with me when I was reading comics, because I lived in a very bad neighborhood, and I knew that good didn't always win. As much as I loved to live in that little alternate reality and hope that superheroes were real when I was growing up, I knew that that wasn't the truth. And when I saw Empire Strikes Back, and Luke loses his hand and finds out Darth Vader's his father, and Han is captured by Boba Fett and taken, frozen in carbonite and taken off, and the rebels are on the run, and they're being backed up to the far edge of the galaxy and into the outer rim. We're like, whoa, man! We got our teeth knocked out in that movie. Good didn't win in that movie. The Empire Struck Back. Infinity War. It's kind of like a Tom Clancy novel if you ever read them. Sometimes you're reading, okay, when's the good guy going to save the day? And you're like, oh, wow, he didn't. Because Tom Clancy also knew that good doesn't always win. And when, you saw that axe come flying through his blast and comes out, boom, bears in his chest. I told you he would die for that. I'm like, okay, so he's going to kill. He should have gone for the head. Boom. When that finger snapped, everybody's like, wait, what? We lost? How did we lose? It was perfect. It was perfection. And I've never understood, if you've got all 6 Infinity Stones, why do you actually have to snap your fingers? If you get the Reality Stone, couldn't you just think, you know what, give me 75 hands and all of them will snap? I mean, why does it actually have to be a snap? Where is it engraved on the stone that this only works if you snap your fingers? If you think about it, it doesn't do anything. I never understood that part. So anyway, that's my top 10 MCU movies. Today is Tuesday. Tomorrow's New Comic Book Day. I am going to try to stay up or get up early tomorrow so I can watch Hawkeye, because I don't think I can make it the entire day without finding out. And my other book did come in last week, and I showed this on the list before. I did get my ASM number 50. And what came in was a nice little companion, number 51 and a 5.0. Off-white to white page. By the way, this shows so much nicer than a 5.0. This came in yesterday, but I wanted to wait till I did this video. And it's got this big, almost like a tape pull-up here, and I think that's a big reason for it. But if you look at let's see if I get the spine on that. It's got a few ticks, but overall looks really, really good. Coming down the other side. Big man right there. I'm hoping to see him in episode 5. Back cover also looking really nice and clean. Yeah, 5.0 with an off-white to white page. This presents better than a 5.0. This is a 4.0. But this is a 4.0 white page, the ASM 50. So I got 2 books from my PC. I'm looking forward to adding that to my top 50 books for 2021. Tell me what you think. Am I off my rocker with my top 10? And I'm going to start uploading this, and I'm going to start recording my top 10 worst MCU movies. I've already got this is the list that I had for the top 10, and I'm not going to let you see it. Unless you watch the video, you'll see my top 10 worst. I'm going to record that now. So you'll see the same shirt. I'm going to air this one on Thursday. So until such time, happy MCUing. Thursday is going to be Spider-Man Day. Don't forget that. I've already got my tickets. Come on, MCU. Here we go. Full blast. But until such time as I see you again, thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click on notifications. And until I see you again, mahalo.